Humanness. It's a lovely word. It's that time before the engines of evil get to you. That time when you're like 3 or 4 and you're all friends. To me, that's the core of humanness. So I wrote this piece called Humanity You're One. I asked, how do privileged people sleep at night? And they holiday at the hotel where economic wage slaves are forced to give false smiles. I mean, how do the privileged people drink other people's wages in an hour and then call them a friend? Mate, why is anybody holidaying? Jesus, it's like a crisis point we face. A new unlocked hack of all hacks, a bullet. This is the bullet. Shot by the master gamer, we will implode without unity. No greater war exists on the planet. There is no greater war to fight, I read. Okay, I'm not going to be all doom and gloom because I happily read, visualed. Apparently 90% of what we learn is visual. So I visualed in Art Basel this vivid blue and red painting that said, the future is possible. We try really hard, most people, to block out the lies, when we all bloody well know it was a lottery of luck. But there's always balance. The guilt is etched into unhealthy bodies. Because the greatest sinner apparently is always the greatest loser, if we can't see that. Balance. The faces of indulged compared to those who are true workers. But let me tell you, the masses are the richer, privileged few. The ones they let rise. They're trapped like gasping fish under nets of authority and bureaucracy and responsibility to governments and authorities who are themselves fueled by evil. I don't think that religion is a great thing. I think it divides us. I think we should now, more than ever, pull together to make a unified religion where our prophets all told us the same thing, basically. Moral codes upon which we must adhere to. Rebel either. But I'm not going to be like that. I think it's about action. Anyway, we are fueled by evil, poisoned by mass media. Wear this, buy this. You will feel better when you wear this, when you buy this. Say the giant engines of power and poison fills our hearts with desire. And when we, let me put it this way, taste those apples, surely you're like me and some part of you is sickened by the fact that little lives were lost to making what is famously an evil logo of temptation. Mass media, mass poison. The 7 deadly sins, that's what I know. I know I've read a bit more theology, but that's what I can comment on. So lust, desire, sloth, greed, worshipping false gods, whichever way you look at it. The greatest sinner is the greatest loser. Yeah, we pretend it keeps us safe, our privilege, our difference, our luck, our latest Apple's phones. Our dreams of superpowers and the potential for humanity are buried, for the most part, in childhood boxes under beds, trapped like the living dead under colossal mountains of confusion, and lost hope, lost like scampering stowaway mice aboard really high seas. Maybe some of us live in fancy mansions, but it is made sure they bear the costs. And who comes when they need something to be fixed? And then you see them asking, am I happier than them? The worker who's fixing my mansion, who somehow seems happier than me? Or am I privileged? Or actually more confused and lonely in the lives we carve out where you play with like attracts like. And in this, there is no true reality to who you like. The balance of retribution is a beautiful act repeated by fine hands of, now I'm being poetic, artistry that we honestly need to worship. The master gamer's game of retribution. Have you never done wrong, only to have it flow back at you threefold in the biggest slabs? We have a saying where I'm from, if your mother doesn't teach you, life will. And it's a harsh ass teacher, come on. Right, so have you not had it flow back at you threefold? Rule and divide. It's like this time-old tapestry that they've just, when I was younger, I thought it was just the same threads woven over and over, but now I realize that politicians never talk about our similarities. They segregate us. And yet, that isn't humanness. Divisions won't work. They can't work anymore. The puppet masters give us so little time. Yes, they slow our minds with sadness. Routine and hope becomes a concept for children. But I know, as a human, in humanness, in the most childlike essence of me, that we can change. I know that we want to be part of life's infinite parade of meticulous, ordered humanity. I know, because I'm a human, I will not be ruled and divided. I know we all dream of perfect. In wary steps, I see it. The worker who says, "How do you do?" is really saying, to borrow another great concept, I love you. Can you not see the greatest sinner really is the greatest loser? Because I reckon there's a master gamer, and I reckon he can. I reckon he sees his creations torn apart by greed and all the sins. And he says things like, well, your soaps are poison. Whenever everything that we've tried to do to outsmart him and nature and feed our greed just is going to damage the hell out of us. So the master gamer can. He sees his creations torn apart by greed and all the sins. Your soaps are poison. Take that mortality. The master gamer aims and fires, for we are all equal when we die. She, his girlfriend, she's like this mad mixologist, artist, and she paints all the time. She even has a little color. Now I'm talking like to my kids, but she has a little color, I imagine, with paintbrushes stored in there, and she's really, really tired. So she tries each day to paint a picture,
In fact, she never sleeps, worrying about her incubated earth, in her suns and her moonsets, in her kisses from the winds. Now, greed and sloth, false gods, shall not be worshipped. The greatest sinner is the greatest loser. Power needs to shift to those who have learnt, with the humbleness you see in true workers. A new form of learned governance must take forefront. Goethe said that should we all sit together and profess all our sins, we would laugh at their unoriginality. So, our sins are being divided. Signposted also is, if we sin, we lose. In every religion or diverse moral code, we see the same: sin, lose. Now I'm ruling and dividing, but you know it. All of you know it. Like you do something, oh, I'm trying too hard. Anyway, sin, lose. Preservation of our earth requires those in breach of care of duty to be removed. Those who hold unreasonable amounts of money should be taken to The Hague for crimes against humanity, and breach of duty of care should be leveled at every government. The preservation of our earth requires them to be removed. Those who hold our throats to ransom and our world to ransom. So on June the 1st, 2019, 1/6/19, let's begin. Sit cross-legged with your village and wait. Do not work, share food. For when there is no monetary value, true change will hopefully begin. Or when we remove the money. Anyway, one thing is clear: the Master Gamer has given us, the people, no choice. Our war is the future of our children's children. In all the incentives they throw to workers, they do not see the Master Gamer's move: death to those who sin. Sit down, he says. My humans, you must talk of your similarities. Share bread and wait for changes possible. Together we can, together we must stop wanton sinners. To coin a phrase used by puppets instructed by their masters, a feeding of cake to the people. This time, for real, we must have change for our children's children. Did you know that apparently we can all fit into Australia? One house, one piece of land. To borrow from my wise friend, we then invoke the rules and laws of nature and mass our resources for rule of a new law, guided by leading lights. It's time for change. The true Master Gamer has decreed.